Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli waj'al li waziran min ahli Haruna akhi ushdud bihi azri wa ashriku fi amri kay nusabbihaka kaseera wa nazkuraka kaseera innaka kunta bina basira. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome everyone. Inshallah, we will continue with our discussion on the miracle of the Quran. So we were going over a few verses, inshallah, how the Quran presents about the silencing in argument, what the ideas that are floating around in this universe that have no reality, which is like called the satanic thoughts and ideas, as if things are existing by themselves or they're functioning by themselves or the rain is happening by itself. So all those things, there are many different details that kind of the Quran presents along the different verses. And this particular one is from section 52, verses 29 to 43. And we went over all these verses step by step. So now I think the author is going to share how he kind of understands, and he's going to make some points about these different verses as well. So we'll go over that, inshallah. Right, so here we shall explain only one of the thousands of truths of these verses as a further example of the category of silencing an argument. It is as follows. With the word or and or, so we kind of looked at the verses that were presented. So we have this yakuluna has been used a few times in this consequently in these verses, right? So that's what the author is referring to, or think about it basically in a way. It silences every group of the people of misguidance with a rhetorical question, expressing surprise and stops all the sources of their doubts. So in a way, asking them, think about it, a rhetorical question. Just that's why it's called silencing an argument. Think about this, reflect on it. Expressing surprise and stops all the sources of their doubts, because once you start reflecting on those verses, so are the treasuries qualities to create of your sustainer with them, or are they the managers of affairs, for example? See if anything in the in creation in the universe has any quality to create. Right? So it stops all the sources of one's doubts. So it leaves no satanic crack through which doubts might enter and hide themselves. It closes them all. It leaves no veil of misguidance under which they might creep and lurk. It tears apart all of them. It leaves not one of their lies, it crushes them. In each sentence, it either demolishes the essence of the blasphemous ideas of one group with a short phrase, or since the falsity is obvious, it exposes it by silence. or since it is refuted in detail in other verses, in these verses here alludes to it briefly. For example, the first sentence alludes to the verse, and we have not instructed him poetry, nor is it meet for him, which is verse 36, section 36, verse 69, sorry. Section 36 and verse 69. And we have not instructed him poetry, nor is it meet for him, that it is not worthy of him, basically, to be doing poetry. While the 15th sentence points to the verse, so the 15th, exalted is far above the things they associate with them. He's relating that to this verse, were there gods other than God in the heavens and earth? There surely would have been confusion in both, which is the verse from the Quran, section 21, verse 22. So there are many verses basically in the Quran that kind of indicates this message, reminds us in a way, right? So like other verses that he mentions, so that's why he brings those, that there are also there are other verses that refer to these, the ideas or the message in these verses as well. So for example, this is the one, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لو كان فيها آلهة إلا الله لفسدتا فسبحان الله رب العرش عما يصفون. If there had been in the heavens or earth any gods but him, both heavens and earth would be in ruins. God, Lord of the throne, is far above the things they say. Any gods but him. So anything that has creative qualities but him. You and I can make further examples from the other sentences like these. It is like this. It says at the start, announce the divine decrees. So referring to the Prophet in 29, basically. The Prophet, by the grace of your Lord, you are neither an oracle nor madman, basically. Declare and announce the divine decrees. You are not a soothsayer, for the words of soothsayers are confused and conjectural, which are speculative, while yours are true and certain, true, convincing, and certain. And you are not mad. Your enemies even attest to your perfect sanity. So far, so good. Any thoughts or comments anybody wants to add to this? Because this is just going over what we kind of went over in the last discussion with these verses. Briefly, we went over each phrase individually. And now we're going to go over how the author is going to present them. As he says, there are different categories in the Quran. One is guidance, one is warnings, and this one is silencing and argument, category of silencing and argument. And in a way, the manner of expression, the rhetoric used is a rhetorical questioning that makes one wonder and reflect on those verses to really see, examine the available universe that we have. Right. So let's see what the author shows in this verse. Or do they say a poet? And let us wait and see what time will do, which is one of the verses, verse 30. Do they call you a poet, like the unreasoning common infidels? Are they waiting for you to perish? You say to them, wait, I shall wait with you. Your vast and brilliant truths are free of the imaginings of poetry and independent of their fancies. So whatever the message that the prophet is bringing is vast and brilliant truths that can be confirmed and are free of the imaginings of poetry. It's not like the poetry which only discusses one aspect of something in the universe. But we kind of discussed earlier about the rhetoric in the Quran where it doesn't deal with the worldly things, but through the worldly, it relates it to the heavenly things or the hereafter and relating to God. Whereas any poetry that you see mostly stays within this, their affection, their relationship with things in this world. Okay. Or is it that their faculties of understanding urge them to do this, which is verse 32, or or 31 probably, or like unreasoning philosophers who rely on their reasons. Do they hold back from following you, saying, our faculties of reason are sufficient? Yeah, we just exist the way we are. We can determine how our life is going to be. Our faculties of reason are sufficient. But reason commands that you are following the messenger. Reason commands, then guidance is needed because everything you say is reasonable. But again, the reason on its own cannot reach the truths. Reason on its own cannot reach to the heavenly message, I would say, right? So who are these unreasoning philosophers who rely on their reasons? Is one question I would have. If anybody wants to share. So I guess maybe the ones who are materially minded people thinking that technology is sufficient, however they're living, that's it. Their being is there, and then whatever the things that they're building and developing would be sufficient for them, which is only for their temporary world in this life. But reason commands. So if you reflect on it using our human qualities, then definitely you would realize our faculties of reason are not sufficient to know the truth. Brother Ali, please go ahead.
Madem arkadaşlar katılmıyor, ben en azından diyalog olsun diye katılayım dedim.
Are you
Yes.
speaking English or Turkish?
Ah, I'm I'm sorry since our friends are not joining, so just I wanted to accompany you and also communicate with you, have an interactive discussion. That is why I raised my hand. Now, the text is clear. I think what we read here is not difficult to understand. But how am I going to be sure that that is the case? When we look at the uh, rhetorical quality of the Quran, it is amazing, yes. I don't think anybody really can challenge it. But at the same time, why no one else can say this? There were great poets that time, very interesting poets, they were saying. But what they were studying about, or sorry, mentioning about, not totally lie, but useless subjects. Quran, first of all, as far as its content is concerned, 100% new. Nothing to the content of the poems of that time. Yes, very rarely, some, I remember reading one, some poetry includes about God's existence and communication with God, but not like the verse we read here. For example, previously we read, was it? Yeah. Were there gods other than God in the heavens and earth? There surely would have been confusion in both of them. It was heavens and the earth. This kind of subject you cannot see at all in the content of the poems, because the people's culture or understanding of life didn't have any other perspective than their social life that time, tribal life, and also their environmental desert conditions, the camel, and having mainly some fruit, mainly dates. This is, and also uh, some sort of ethics subject they deal as well, human ethics. And of course, definitely beauty and represented by women. Mainly this. But the Quran is the text set down there. Oh, it's very interesting. Or philosophers who deny their own reasons, do they hold back from following you, saying, our faculties of reason are sufficient? Now, but reason commands followed, that you are followed, because everything you say is reasonable. I think the addressee is the prophet here, isn't it?
Yes, that's what I understood.
So, because everything you prophets say after receiving the message is reasonable, it means what the message you are conveying to people is reasonable. But again, the reason on its own cannot reach it. Because that time, the people, or even now, they are trying to really say how the things may be explained. For example, recently, I'm not a scientist at all, and I'm not uh, specialized in any subject at all, but nowadays everybody is scholar, isn't it? Using the AI. So I asked AI about if there is any discrepancy in the order of the universe, Is everything perfect, or is there anything which is not perfectly fitting to the rest of the universe? It said there are, AI said, for example, there are various theories about it. Of course, this uh, chaos, chaos theory and quantum uncertainty and mm, entropy, entropy. And some philosophers and some scientists' views. Four categories it presented. Entropy says, physicists say, the universe is declining and going to collapse. The famous second rule of thermodynamics. Everything is going to degrading it. Biology says everything tries to be perfect. Contradiction. Which one is true? And mathematicians say, although there seem to be some chaotic creation, I can share it if you like, but it is in another language. So everything seems to be chaotic, but underlying reality that the mathematical equations demonstrate that nothing is out of perfection, perfect order. And AI gave these all options. Three of them say different things. Contradictory. Physicists say the universe is really going to the degradation and this order is going to collapse. It is going back. Biology says everything tries to be perfect. Speculations. And also, why do they say that the entropy says this order of the universe is declining? Because, for example, if a person or a living being is aging and dying, it shows that decline. But Qur'an says this is becoming more perfect to get ready for a next creation. Because everything is created to reach its purpose of existence and then take out of this creation. It seems to be the universe also seems to be that everything is reaching its perfection, and then it is going to collapse in its nature. You can see that it is going to collapse. So you cannot say the universe is really keeping its existence by itself. There are all these alternative theories, but mathematical equations definitely so demonstrate that even when I was a baby, I am growing within a perfect order, and I am aging within a perfect order. If my illnesses were not according to an orderly creation, there would be no science of medicine. This is also perfectly. My death is perfectly taking place within an order. My aging is taking place within an order. And everything in the universe demonstrates that the universe needs a creator who must be an absolute being, because the way the things are created, all their qualities demonstrate that each quality of each being says, for example, if you see any wise, any wisdom in the existence of anything, it says, I am giving existence with this wisdom by the one who gave the existence to the universe with this wisdom, and his wisdom is manifesting itself, demonstrating itself universe-wise, continuously at every moment. Now, it's very clear. What is very clear? Everything witnesses that my creator must be the one, the creator of the whole universe. And nothing else can have any interference in between. Either a thing exists, given existence, within a perfect order, or it doesn't exist. There is no in between. Either a thing needs to be created, or it is a creator. There is no in between. It means existence is realized in the universe 100% dependent on an absolute creator's willing that thing to exist within the context of the universe. That is 100% necessary. If creation is tried to be attributed to the thing itself, its existence becomes 0% possible. So existence-wise, everything is 100% sure that their existence demonstrates the necessity of the creator of the universe to be an absolute being. So the verse says, now, if there was, were there gods, if there was any other element in the universe that has a share in creation, affecting the creation at all, 1%, 50%, whatever. No, either 100% created or 0%, it may have existence by itself. So other than God in the heavens and earth, there surely would have been confusion in the heavens and the earth, in both of them. It is obvious that 1400 years ago, an illiterate man, even educated man, doesn't matter. If Muhammad was an educated man, doesn't matter, but wisdom requires that he has to be a blank, illiterate person. Illiterate doesn't mean that unintelligent. No, illiterate person, not educated, not polluted its original pristine or pristine human nature, not polluted. So that is wisdom requires that the prophets must be uneducated people. So because they will have one teacher, the teacher of the creator. So we can easily understand that the way it is presented in its rhetorical value, and also the content of the Quranic message, has no contradiction whatsoever. So we should be very careful as far as the existence is concerned, God's creating the universe is concerned. There is no way other than what the Quran states. We shouldn't be confused about these fiqh matters, which is the gradual education of society and human beings, and mostly by some scholars understood that this is a matter of what is that nasib mensu what was the word?
Obliteration,
Abrogated.
abrogation, yeah.
Yes. That is what it is. But this is just a misunderstanding. There are many great scholars who reject this idea of nasikh mansukh in fiqh matters. Otherwise, belief side or explanation of creation, existence of the hereafter, I mean, in summary, foundations of belief system has no way to understand in another way at all. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah, Brother Ali. Thank you. Okay. We'll continue. Or are they but a people transgressing all bounds? Which is the next verse, 52, section 52, verse 32. Or is the reason for their denial they're not submitting to Almighty God like wicked tyrants? But the ends of the pharaohs and Nimrods, who were the leaders of arrogant oppressors. So they were representing arrogance and oppression, are known. So as a result of arrogance, denial of not submitting to God, holding their, as if they have their own statement. So there was a comment earlier, literally goes without any prior knowledge of any sort, would you say? You're not aware of the prophetic message or the revelation or things that are heavenly related, illiterate in that sense, and also not basically knowing how to read and write like we do nowadays. Okay, so tyrants, arrogance, oppressors, which is what many deny based on their arrogance, like the material scientists. They say we will find a way and not to explain the universe, but without accepting any religious thing, statements or philosophical statements, but through scientific methods. Or do they say he fabricated this message? Nay, they do not believe. Just the verse, next verse 33. Or like lying dissemblers, without conscience do they accuse you, saying, referring to the Prophet, you have made up the Qur'an. But up to this time they have known you to be the most truthful among them and have called you Muhammad the trustworthy. It means that they have no intention to believe. Otherwise, let them find the like of the Quran among the works of men. So those who accuse the Prophet that that's his work, a certain Orientalists or Western authors, when they describe the Quran, they say, oh, he's the author of the Quran or the religion of Islam, the founder of. So they still do that. Even if you Google this, sometimes it comes up. But so somebody who everybody in the town, small town, knew as Muhammad the trustworthy, and all of a sudden he comes up with a message, and he says, "Not from me," and that rings the alarms of everyone, like in terms of they've never heard such a message before. So anyone who kind of accuses that it's coming from him should know better in that sense. Okay. Or were they created for nothing? What was it 34, I think, or that? Or like yeah, Brother Ali, before we go to 34, go ahead, please.
Uh, Just I wanted to ask this question to everyone here. Is it really important that a messenger should be known by the people prior to his messengership? It means starting spreading, sharing the message and claiming that he has received God, to be a trustworthy person. Farah says yes. It is necessary. Anybody else?
So knowing someone to be a trustworthy person before to the
Yeah. Is it necessary that he must be known as a trustworthy person?
and nowadays not really because you can see what the evaluate the message and try to confirm it in that sense.
The message itself.
Right.
Hmm. Farah raised the hand. Now, I don't know. I'm not the moderator, so go ahead.
Okay, Farag.
I was thinking that in the reputation is helpful but not necessary because at the end of the day, the people receiving the message should be evaluating the message on its terms as to what it's claiming and whether it is um, confirmable, believable on their given their life circumstances. But the reputation of someone being a trustworthy person is certainly helpful. I'm not sure if that's say necessary in order to verify the message someone brings.
That is interesting. Now, Farah said yes. Asim said not really nowadays. And Farah was in between. Is it right?
I'm saying it's definitely has some importance, but it's not a condition.
Now, I mean, inevitable condition.
Right, right.
Now, in between, yeah. So I will combine all of them. After listening to you and hearing you, after I said, while I'm saying, this is it. All the comments were helpful. Contemporaries of the prophet, any prophet, trustworthiness is essential, inevitable. If a person comes up with 1, 2, or 10 sentences, says, one day this universe will collapse. They cannot really, you will see the stars are going to crush each other. I wouldn't believe in him. Now, if he speaks in this way, what are you talking about? Who are you? If he wasn't a trustworthy person, especially known to me, I would not take notice of him at all. That is my feelings tell me now. I wouldn't listen to him. But if he's a well-known, trustworthy person and seriously proclaims this and says, it is not from me, that is God. Take it or leave it. That's up to you. The reality of the universe is like this. That is what the creator of the universe is speaking in this way. I think trustworthiness is really essential for the contemporaries of the prophet, any prophet. But for me now, can I get day, and I'm going to from Feriha to Asim. Can I go and take the Musaf and say that historically it is proven that let's put all the historical side of it, which may be questionable, history. So it is maybe questionable. Let's even make sure that he was a trustworthy person. What shall I do? He was a trustworthy person. So I read the Quran. If it doesn't make sense to me, as the previous paragraph, everything he says is reasonable, but reason cannot reach it. This is the problem, not the problem actually. Fundamental principles of the Quran. When I explain to you, it will make sense to you, and your reason will approve it. That's the principle of the Quran. But you cannot reason out what I said. You cannot find it. Only after I say it, you will find it. That is the nature of the Quran. I think this principle should never be forgotten while we are reading the Quran. His message, especially foundations, establishing the foundations of belief matter, his message never contradicts human reality, human nature, the way we are created. But at the same time, if there was no such message, I see billions of people out there, they cannot think of it at all. Impossible. After hearing the message, they may add some speculative explanations to it. Now, for me, I cannot treat the Quran just because it was transferred by a trustworthy person, having the whole book with me. No, as Asim said, no, I don't need it now. The text is enough for me itself. But hearing that, now come to Farah's point. Hearing that he was a trustworthy person, no one accused him of doing something wrong against human nature, but some claim that, this claim of his, this is important, inspired by him, by jinns, whatever they think about it. It means it cannot be his work, but he must have get some, some beings, well-known jinns, or some other people, other sources from somewhere else, because he himself cannot make it. They know him that time. So the accusations of the prophet was all saying that he's a trustworthy person, but he must have got it somewhere else, or he must be possessed, sihr, maskhur. He must be possessed by some things, or jinns are teaching him. They didn't accept that it is from the creator of the universe, as the text says somewhere up there, because they have no intention to submit their existence to the creator of the universe and believe what the Quran is saying. They are just thinking of their social position, reputations, power claims, this kind of secondary subjects. Otherwise, now, yes, it is helpful to for the contemporaries necessary. For me also, if I hear that Prophet once changed his mind and said, that I received this was not really correct. I mixed up. Now I have another one for you. Then this shakes the faith in his being a trustworthy person. It becomes shaky, but it helps me now, but not enough. Now I have to concentrate on the content of the Quran, and whether I agree with it, I confirm it or not, that is my attitude. That is my choice now. So three of them has the truth. The three suggestions I heard so far, three of them has one aspect of the truth. That's what I understood. This is not a final judgment. That's my understanding.
Alhamdulillah, yeah, I agree. That makes sense to me. Okay, let's continue, inshallah. Or were they created from nothing, which is the next verse, or like the absurd philosophers who believe the universe to be without purpose and in vain? Do they suppose themselves to be aimless and without wisdom, purpose, duty, or creator? So the universe to be without purpose and meaningless, in vain, just like they themselves are without any purpose, without wisdom, duty. Have they become blind that they do not see that the universe is adorned from top to bottom with instances of wisdom and bears the fruits of aims, and that beings from particles to the suns are charged with duties and are subjugated to the divine command? So they do not pay attention to the universe, they do not observe it. Just like nowadays, the material scientists are not paying attention to the existence part. So if we wonder at it, examine it, we would see instances of wisdom, bears the fruits of aims, purpose, and beings from particles to the suns are charged with duties. Continuous creation, things we are using for our benefit. So everything in the universe is being arranged accordingly to satisfy our bodily needs, and also in that way, so for us to realize our human needs as well. All right, or were they themselves the creators? Which is the next verse. So either were they created from nothing, or were they themselves the creators? Or do they imagine, like the Pharaoh, like materialists, that they came into being by themselves? They feed themselves and themselves create everything they need, so that they hold back from believing and worship. That means they all suppose themselves to be the creator. I think this is what's happening. Whereas the creator of one thing has to be the creator of everything. That is to say, their pride and conceit have made them so utterly stupid, they imagine to be a possessor of absolute power, one who is absolutely impotent and may be defeated by a fly or a microbe. Since they have abdicated their reason, not using it, and humanity to this degree, and have fallen lower than the animals and even inanimate beings, do not be saddened at their denial. Consider them to be a variety of harmful animals and filthy matter. That's interesting, a variety of harmful animals. Ignore them and give them no importance. Any comments on these two verses, or were they created from nothing, or were they themselves the creators? Brother Ali, please go ahead.
I think the translation of the first part is, or were they created of nothing? It means here in the original also language, "Em khuliqu min ghayri shay'in." And the same verse continues, "Bel humul khaliqun," or the same verse. Now, were they themselves are the creator? Now, created of nothing, as the which understand we say, no, I'm confusing. We say the universe, everything is created out of nothing. Now, but here, not out of nothing, is of nothing. It means no purpose. Now here it is, 35. Now, they were created for no purpose. It means, do they not have a conscious creator who created them for a purpose? For no purpose, which is called in the, I mean, philosophical terms, or in Arabic they are called really abesiyun. So some people say that we are created for nothing. There is no purpose in our existence. That happened to be like this. There is no purpose in our existence. Abesiyun. How do you translate it if somebody can do it?
I think nihilist.
In nihilism. In
No,
nihilism.
just nihilist. Nihilism.
Nihilist. Yeah. Thank you. I remember now. Thank you very much. Nihilism. Yeah, this first part of the verse refers to nihilism. Or, in following, humul khaliqun, or do they created themselves so that I don't need that. I want to exist. That's why I am. I think this translation, literal translation, khuliqu min ghayri shay'in, for no purpose. I think this min, it means from, because of this, it means. Do you say there are the various meanings? I can search for it, because it must be the mean is not from in English. So this person said without any agent, but بغير شيء. Min, yeah, it is. I have to search for it, because min is used not only in English. We use from. No. In Arabic, min can be used in many other purposes. Now, I don't know whether, I don't remember min whether I used is of. No. Of nothing. It means without anything. But this translation said without an agent. Literally, it means something, but I understand. It is forcing. It looks like forcing. There is no agent here. Min gayri şeyin. But with no purpose. It means for no purpose. Let me see. Thank you very much. I need to really invest.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So were they created of nothing, or were they themselves the creators? Okay, so let's continue. Or did they create the heavens and the earth? Nay, they have no firm belief. Or like the mindless, confused Mu'attila, who denied God all attributes and denied the Creator. Do they deny God so that they do not heed the Quran? Firm belief. That's interesting. So there is a belief, but not firm belief. Mm. The confusion is there, denied God all attributes and denied the Creator. Do they deny God so that they do not heed the Quran? In which case, let them deny the existence of the heavens and the earth. Or let them say we created them. Let them lose their minds altogether and begin uttering the frenzied ravings of lunacy. For in the heavens, as many proofs of divine unity are apparent and are recited as the stars, and on the earth as many as the flowers. That means they have no intention of acquiring certain knowledge and finding the truth. So there's evidence and proofs of divine unity which is apparent within the universe, right? That means they have no intention of acquiring certain knowledge and finding the truth. Otherwise, how do they suppose to be without an inscriber, the book of the universe, in one word of which is written a whole book? Although they know that a letter cannot exist without the one who wrote it. Just like a book cannot be without an author of the book. Even if the book is written by AI, it needs someone to write that book. Any comments on this one? Or did they create the heaven and the earth? No, they have no firm belief. So in terms of the creation aspect of the heavens and the earth needs to be paid attention to in terms of the existence of the things around us, which is proofs of divine unity are apparent. None of them can give existence to anything in the universe or even to themselves. They cannot sustain themselves. I mean, it's impossible to deny the qualities manifested in the universe.
Uh, uh, Sorry, I found out it says min can be used min gayri şeyin sebebiyye because of this reason. The
In this one?
several uh, uh, several usage of min they are mentioning. One of them is sebebiyye. So we can read the previous the verse related to us. Or were they created of nothing? Or were they created of for no reason, no sebab, reason? Just happened to be, or for no reason. You can put a note that why we are reading min, this min, harfi cer it's called, for sebebiye. Mini sebebiye. Min the dash is sebebiye. Sebep means reason. Yeah. So, I mean, just for information, because created of nothing is better than created from nothing, because God creates everything from nothing. They were created from nothingness. It was somehow bothered me, so I need to do research on it.
Alhamdulillah. So that men part of that, which is translated as of or from, is
Or for this reason,
yeah. So it has to, we have to look at for no reason, basically, or of nothing. That's what it indicates.
yeah. Or for example,
So let's say,
for
am I
example,
existing for no reason?
excuse me, the English says yemutune minel ju', which is people are dying because of the reason of uh, hunger.
Yes.
Yeah, that is also an example that they talk about. Detail, but somehow may confuse.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Brother Ali? Confusing in what?
Now, it is a detail, but if we just say that, or they were created of nothing, or they were created from nothing, maybe a problematic, because we are created from nothing, just God's will.
I
But
see.
or
Yeah.
we have no creator at all, purposeless existence. That is why it refers to nihilism. For no purpose, for no reason.
I see.
Of course, the following verse, where they themselves are created, shows that they are created by a conscious being for a purpose. So
Right.
if my existence is purposeful, so the agent who created me, the creator who gave me existence, must have a reason to create me. Otherwise, he cannot be my creator.
Alhamdulillah, yep. That makes sense. Okay, so we are at time. So I think we can stop here for today, inshallah. And we can continue from this verse. Or did they create the heavens and the earth? Nay, they have no firm belief. And discuss from next time, inshallah. Because I think there are a few things we can discuss. Okay. So I'll start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana. Innaka anta alimul hakim. وآخر دعواهم الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سورة الفاتحة. All right, thank you everyone.
Assalamu alaikum. See you tomorrow.